Give us some examples of the types of warnings that we're getting from corporates raising money, citing Brexit risk.
Yeah, so we've really seen these risks getting way longer over the past year or so, whereas previously companies were writing maybe a couple of sentences because they didn't really know what risks were involved. We're now seeing, in the case of Cambridge University, for example, 2 pages of Brexit risks. For Cambridge, they were listing problems like, for example, maybe not getting access to EU research budgets, maybe also having less EU-based students wanting to apply to Cambridge University. So those are the kind of problems they were listing. For TUI, the German tour operator, they were pointing out that there's a risk, at least, that their UK-based airlines may not have access to EU airspace. So there are a lot of unknowns here, but it's good that companies are listing for investors very clearly what the problems may be.
I thought it was very interesting, Katie, that you're starting to see more companies, when they sell bonds, add clauses that allow them to switch the governing jurisdictions away from the UK. That kind of gives us some insight into what the financial capital of Europe is going to look like post-Brexit. Certainly won't be as strong as it has been.
Absolutely. This is something that's actually becoming quite a concern for investors who focus on this part of the market, on the part for bank capital notes. So we've seen quite a few banks already so far this year include small print that means in certain circumstances they could change the governing law away from English to potentially their nation's home law. We then saw Novo Banco, the Portuguese lender, in June issue a bond with much more precise language, saying in the case of Brexit, and if the regulator no longer actually acknowledges their bonds as bail-in capital, they can change the governing law, and they can do so without asking bondholders' permission. And in the case of Novo Banco, that was particularly a concern because this bank has a history of having arbitrary decisions made with its debt, where we saw a transfer of bonds in the past, of Portuguese law bonds. So the question is, if investors are not going to have English law protections, can we expect more sort of unpredictable actions with their debts?